Hi, welcome to the Molix Method Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandria Molix, and this is the space where dreamers become doers and doers become leaders who are leading profitable and purposeful brands every day. Yes, I am making a marketing consultant accessible for you. I am bringing my knowledge to the everyday entrepreneur and small business owner so that when you have a space dedicated just for you to grow your business, for you to grow your brand. So if you are looking for any type of advice on how you can help grow your business, on how you can expand, on how you can reach more people, but you don't have the budget for a huge agency, then this is the space for you. Each episode, we are going to bring on entrepreneurs who have a question or who have a problem within their business, and we're going to walk through it. And after that, we're not going to just talk about marketing, because I understand that as a marketing consultant, that sometimes in your brand and in your business, the problem is not always just a marketing problem. So some days we may have leadership development. Some days it may be finance. Some days it may be business strategy. But whatever it is, I've created this space just for you. So I thank you for hanging out with me. I thank you for coming on, and we're getting ready to now speak with our first entrepreneur, and Miss Stephanie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. Hi. Thank you for being on, Stephanie.
No problem.
So if you will please tell us a little bit about your brand and tell us your business name, your location, a little bit about your brand and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Stephanie Cooper. I am an educator at one of the local high schools here in Brunswick, Georgia. And my business is Blessed is She That Believed. And what I started off doing was designing websites and taking care of the marketing and design for small businesses that were just starting up at reasonable prices so they don't have to stress themselves out. However, with the leading of the Holy Spirit, it has shifted several times. So now I am doing podcasting under the same name, and I thoroughly enjoy that. Do not make money off of it, but it's like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm also an author, graphic designer, and poet. So I do a lot of different things.
Yes, I love to speak with the multi-passionate, because you guys are always visionary. You guys always have so much vision and so many dreams. And I love that people like you don't limit yourself, but you always go after everything. So I love that. So what is your question today?
My question today, as you heard in my description, serial entrepreneur, like I'm doing several different things. I guess I have questions on how do you handle shifting? Like when you start off, you're starting off in one area, but then it may turn into something else. You may do 2 or 3 things. How do you handle that shift and go with it, and still make a profitable outcome?
Okay, that's a perfect question. And that's a really great question that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in 2026, have, because so many people are doing multiple things. There are people who are just like you, who I call them workpreneurs. Like, you have a 9-to-5, but you also have your dream business or your dream brand that you have on the side. And you're also an author and a podcaster. So I always tell people that when it comes to growing your brand, because you're not just growing a business, you're growing a brand that encompasses multiple things that you do. And so when it comes to the shift, I always tell people, go where the money is. That's the first thing you want to look at. Go where the money is. Whatever is making you the most money is where you want to go, or whatever is the most profitable for you at that time. That's the direction that you want to go, because sometimes some of the dreams that we have, yes, they've been given to you, and yes, you are going to be able to do them, but sometimes it's the timing is not right. And it's not just timing in that aspect, but you also want to think about timing in the market. What's also taking place in the market? Yeah. So when it comes to shifting, once again, you want to go where the money is, but before you just make that shift, you want to do some type of research. You want to look at, okay, what is this going to cost me? Because before you make money, it's going to cost you something. It's either going to cost you money. It's either going to cost you time. It's going to cost you some type of resource. So I would say the first thing to do is to look at where you want to go, make sure you have that mapped out, and make sure you have the goal for what you want to do. Make sure you have those goals so that way you can track all of those KPIs. So you can track, okay, am I hitting my target? Because when it comes to a shift in the market, sometimes it's not always, what's the word? It's not always as big or as visible. Sometimes it could be something very slight. So, and it also could be that you might just have a change in passion. And that's the downside to people who do multiple things is one day you are all for this and then the next day you are all for that. So if that is part of what the issue is, then to that, I say you have to really just nail down what you want to do and what's going to be profitable for you. Again, it's going to come to what's making you the most money. I always tell people, yes, the things that we do, we are purpose driven, we are mission driven, and we have dreams of wanting to help our community and, help, any way we can. But the only way that we could do that is making sure that we are making money. So really think about what's that shift. Is it a hard thing? Is it you're shifting because I'm just not feeling this anymore? Or are you shifting because is this where your audience shifting you? Is this where the money is taking you? So those are the two main things. And if it's a hard thing, then sometimes there may be some more work that needs to be done there because entrepreneurship is not always about what feels good.
Right.
It's never actually going to always feel good. So even with that, you want to look at, okay, why do I feel like I need to shift to something different? Is it because I'm just not making money? Am I not progressing? But then that goes back to what were my goals? What did I have set in place? Did I check off those goals? And when I say goals, I mean, do you have something set as to say, I wanted to make this amount of money, or I wanted to reach this amount of people? And look at, did I do the things that I needed to do to get to where I needed to be?
Okay.
I hope that helped.
Yes, that did. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have time? Can I ask for a follow-up question? Okay. Do you have any follow-up questions from that?
So I had a different question, not connected to that. It could be connected to that. I had a poetry.
So, hold on. Probably go ahead and move on to somebody else.
And now we're going to hear from another budding entrepreneur. Her name is Cheryl. Cheryl, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So, Cheryl, can you tell the people a little bit about what you do, your background, and about your business?
Okay. My name is Cheryl Blyden, and I am the CEO of Connections Publishing. It's a book publishing company. I want to do several things to branch off from that. I'd like to have a magazine. I'd like to maybe have a podcast that's connected to all things books, and just try to get people out there to read and get back into reading. There's so many electronic ways of reading. I remember a few years ago when I wanted a Nook, and I wanted a Nook so bad. My daughter had a Nook and she gave me the Nook, and then I got it and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I need a book so I can open it up and smell the pages, rub my hands through the pages, mark all over the book. That's a lot of times why I don't lend my books out, because they're so marked up. But I'm a wordsmith. I love words. I love the meaning of words. And I also believe that as we as humans, we need that connection through words. We need that connection through stories. My story can connect to your story and to Stephanie's story, and your stories can connect to mine. That's what words do. They connect people together. So that's what I find very fascinating. Right now, I'm doing some book editing. I have 2 clients that I'm editing books for. and then we'll move on to the next phase. But yeah, books, that's my thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to hear that. So what is your question today?
My question today is how, not that one. Let me go with this one. What advertising platforms like Amazon, Facebook, BookBub do you find most effective, and why?
So the advertising platforms that I find most effective and why. So this is a really great question because guess what? There is no one that's most effective. The one that's going to be most effective is the one that is working for you and your audience. But it goes back to most small business owners. They think about advertising and marketing in just a certain type of way. A lot of people automatically think word of mouth, and most people will say that word of mouth is the best. And they say that because number one, it's free. It's not costing you anything. But I always say word of mouth is not always the best because you have no control over what people are actually saying about your business. So a lot of people will say that that one's the best. Right now in 2026, most people will probably say digital is the best. Social media is the best. However, I always want to challenge people because for years, there was traditional advertising. There was no social media. And we have brands that are still around today who started out at door to door or started out at word of mouth or started out traditional just on television or, phone calls, cold calls and stuff like that. So I can't really say that there's one that's most effective because it's going to depend on your product. It's going to depend on your audience, which is the biggest thing that it's going to depend on, really, where your audience is, where they live, where you're going to be able to effectively communicate with them. It's also going to depend on your budget. When it comes to the budget, because if you have a budget for radio, if you have a budget for TV, and if that's effective and that's where your target audience is, then that's where you want to go. If you do not have a budget for that, social media might be where you need to be if that's where your audience is. One of the things I love talking about with entrepreneurs is about their target audience, because that is one of the areas that I see that a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners, they overlook, and not on purpose, but they overlook it because you are the expert in what you do. You are the expert in your product. You are the expert in your service. And I'm the expert in who you're supposed to be reaching. So you're not meant to know everything. You're not meant to know all of the aspects of marketing. And that's why we have platforms like this one where I can fill in those blanks for you. So when it comes to effective advertising, it's really going to be dependent upon those things. Who are you trying to reach? And not just who are you trying to reach, but how often are you trying to reach them, and the product and the service, and how do you have your platform set up to where they can respond back to you? So if you put out your call to action, are they able to respond back? Are they able to click on a link? Are they able to get back in touch with you? So the most effective one is going to be the one that has been researched, the one in simple terms, where your people already live. I hope that answered that.
Yes, that does.
Okay, great. And Stephanie, do we have you back? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Okay, it's technology.
Like,
It's
touch that off. Okay.
It's technology, but you're back, and that's all that matters. So, Miss Stephanie, what was your follow-up question?
My follow-up question, it may not be directly linked to what I was asking before, but I just want to know because I had a poetry event that you were a part of in September, and it was like, I did not prepare myself on the back end. So the marketing and everything, I shut down. I was tired. I was overworked, underpaid. It was over.
Right.
And I could not bounce back. And I'm slowly trying to bounce back. It's like I didn't have enough stamina for the event that I prepared. So what are some strategies or tips that you have for, like, after you have an event or after you do a big sale or something like that? How do you continue with the marketing, continue pushing out your content and product when you are trying to recover from an event or something like that?
Okay. That's an amazing question. And the answer may surprise you, but I always work from backwards. So I don't start at, okay, we're going to have this event. I start at, after the event is over, what do I want them to do? So you want to think about that. So the next time you are putting together an event, you want to think about what is it? Because the event is just there to gather the people, but what's the next step? What do you want them to do afterwards? So you want to think about that. Okay, so I have this event, but what do I want them to do? Do I want them to join a group? Do I want them to follow me on social media? And even after they've done that, what is the ultimate goal around what you're building? So that's probably really the first question to think about. What is the ultimate goal around what you're building? Because that is going to dictate everything else that you do. And then once you know what that ultimate goal is, so let's just say that your ultimate goal, I'll just give you a made up one for right now. Let's say it's to build a community of poetry lovers. And let's say it's to build a community of not just people who are performing poetry, but also people who want to be able to be in a environment where they can have fun and have a good time and have a laid back time and hear poetry and hear music. So what does that look like? And so don't think about what it looks like right now, but think about what does it look like in the end. So after you've retired and after it's been 10, 20 years, think about that, because once you have that image, then that'll help put in the pieces of what you need to do moving forward. So thinking about your goal, thinking about the ultimate goal, and then of course thinking about, okay, after this event, because the thing when it comes to people and when it comes to your audience, an audience has to be told what to do next. They're not just going to know what to do next. So you have to have the things in place to tell them, okay, I'm not just going to have another event, but we also have this social media page. We also have this YouTube page, or we also have this for you to be able to stay connected with the people. And then you want to make it as easy as possible for the people. You want to make it so that way it's like a baby could do it. So at your next event, possibly have like a QR code on there. So that way people can scan the QR code and it can possibly list like all of the social links for you and all of the poets, and even go ahead and create some type of feedback. So some type of survey or something that people can say, hey, I love this portion. I didn't like this portion, or maybe can I do it here? Something. Now, the thing with surveys is people don't always like to do them, but if you put them out there, someone's going to do it. And at some point you're going to start to get more of that feedback. So that way, you know what to do, because ultimately you want to give the people what they want. Like, you have the great idea, but without the people, then it's just an idea. So you want to be able to make sure that you're catering to the people as well. And then you also want to make sure that you're also events are a lot, no matter how small or no matter how big the event is. Events are a lot. So then I would also say, get volunteers to help take on some of the other pieces. So someone who can be responsible for making sure that you're gathering the information. And I know that with you that you use Eventbrite. So you might want to go into Eventbrite and see, are you able to gather the contact information? Are you able to get that so that way you can start, because they're building up their database.
Right.
They have all their contacts. You have to start now building up that database and building up that contact, so that way you can be able to reach out to these people who've already been to your events and say, okay, we're having another one. And you guys, you can get tickets sold first to you because you're already a dedicated member of, the Poet Society. So think through that, and think about when it comes to the planning. Like I said, you want to do volunteers, get people involved in your vision, so that way it's not all on you, because you won't be able to do it all.
Right.
And when you forget, someone else is going to remember. And they don't even have to be like an expert in whatever it is. You just need to have willing people, participants who will be willing to help you expand the vision.
Okay.
So I hope that answered that question.
No, that was a lot. I already started thinking about, okay, I need this done, I need to get that done. So yeah, that was, thank you.
Okay, great. And Cheryl, you have a follow-up question?
I do. As a small business owner, entrepreneur, just starting out, how much funds do you think should be allotted for marketing?
Okay. So when it comes to how much money you should allot to marketing, of course, I'm a marketing person. I'm going to say a lot, as much as you can to marketing. But I understand that's not always feasible as a small business or as an entrepreneur who's just starting out. So you really want to look at what you have already. Okay. If you have nothing, if you're starting from zero, then you need to do every free resource you could possibly do. If you have zero, even if you're just starting out, I always tell people, make money first.
Okay.
Go and make money first, because marketing is one of those expenses, even in bigger brands and in bigger companies. Marketing is one of those expenses that if they feel it's not working, it's getting cut. Like it's getting cut. They're not going to invest in it. So I always tell people in the beginning, if you are a small business, if you are an entrepreneur who is just starting out, focus on just making the money. But as you're making the money, you will also have to have that discipline to save the money that you are making, so that way you can turn around and invest 15 or 20 or 30% into your marketing. But again, that comes from planning. That comes from looking at, okay, I want to make this amount of money. And in order for me to make this amount of money each month, I need to do X, Y, and Z. So if that means that you have to get out every day and go talk to people, like physically talk to people, then that's what you need to do. Or if that means if you don't want to do that, if you want to use social media and you want to DM people every single day, then that's what you need to do. So as a entrepreneur who's just starting out, or as a small business owner who's just starting out, the first thing I will tell you to do is to just make the money. Get out there and make it any way that you can. And then as that money is coming in, then you can dedicate it to marketing and dedicate it to where you want to go. Because in the beginning, it's going to be hard to do it, and you're going to talk yourself out. Every small entrepreneur or every small business owner that I meet, they never think about marketing because they say they're not making enough money. But yet then they say, I know that marketing is important, which I agree. I'm a marketing person. To me, it's the most important thing. However, I also know that it takes money to market. You have to have money. And even the free resources, you still need to have something. You're giving something up, whether it's your time, whether, you're giving up sleep. You're giving something up in order to even utilize that free resource. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. It did.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. I thoroughly enjoyed you. I thoroughly enjoyed your questions. I hope that you were able to receive some type of help today. And make sure that you are following us. Make sure that you are sharing this episode. And until next time, I will see you two later.